No, we can just go.
No, that's what I wrote. I had to write something else.
Are we live?
Yep.
Right. Can you put that on things so I can see people's comments?
Sure can.
Good afternoon, everyone. We think we're ready. It's really weird today because it's just Kate and I. I nearly just said me and Kate. It's just Kate and I this afternoon. No one else. And the storm's rolling in and the sky is as black outside. So it's nice and cozy.
It is.
It's really nice up here. And I'm surrounded by fabric because all afternoon I've been actually picking up bolts that I wanted to show you we're going to use in the applique sampler, and it's been growing up around the desk. So I think I've got everything I want to show you. So we'll get started, but I will just say hello because I can see on my phone who's here. So hello Anne, hello Robin and Marie and Louise. Hey Louise, machine's under control. Jenny, hello Jenny. Maureen, Yvonne Chapman, hello, and Marilyn is here, Pat's here, Marie, and Carol Hill's in the building as well, so that's just lovely. Janet Steer, I'm on to you. Oh, do we have an order downstairs for Janet? We have an order downstairs for you, Janet, and there was a reason it hasn't gone. I think I've got it sorted now, so that'll go out this afternoon. Hi Deb, good to see you. Heaps of people are here, and that's really lovely. So what we're just doing today, as opposed to our Facebook live shows that we usually do during the week, and the next one is at 10 o'clock next Tuesday morning.
Good to know.
And everything this week will be ready for the lives, and you won't be waiting a week for me to post it out for you. All the Melbourne Magics have gone out, by the way. And Ruth, you'll be watching from WA. Your custom-made kit in the Nouveau is also going out this afternoon. Hey Jill, hi Janine. Oh, I had a lovely chat with Janine this afternoon, Kate.
Did you?
Yeah, I nearly made myself late for the show, but we had a really nice chat. Hi Bronwyn. Robin's here too. So today is just all about having a chat about your newsletter that you got last night, about the applique sampler, and just adding a little bit more information for you about what we're going to be doing this year. Hey Chris, if you did have a look at the newsletter, I gave you just a little snippet of the history of the applique sampler, and it all started a very long time ago, probably 20 years ago, and it came from a real desire to create an applique sampler or a quilt to learn from that was different to your stock standard 12-inch 12-block quilt. Now I actually have one of those. Kate, what do I do with the water? Oh, it's over there, that's right. I downed the rice crackers way too late in the piece. I did one of those as my first quilt, and in fact, I will try and find it and show it to you next week. I have shared it with a couple of people, but I think it's important that you see it with a couple of the blocks in our sampler. But I wanted something different, and I didn't want a big block that was daunting or a little bit intimidating when you started a quilt, and I didn't want to throw people into the deep end with the technique. I wanted you to be able to try it out just on a small block and then progress that skill as we go along in subsequent blocks. So that is how this thing here on the wall got started, and as I did the blocks, I made them all size proportional to the technique that we were trying, and then I had to put them all together as a jigsaw puzzle, and this is what we ended up with. Now I've actually got here Angie Girlcrest is in the building. Ah, it's so bad I can see who's watching.
Have you been looking at the comments too? That's the important part.
Who said comments? Karen's here. What did someone say something bad about me?
No, everyone's saying hello in the comments. That's where you need to be.
So when I was speaking to Janine today, she said she took me shopping and she went to watch while she was shopping, and she didn't realise the volume was up. So that was a bit embarrassing. I went shopping with Janine. That was really nice. So it all started with this blue version that I've got here, and I'm going to show you the date. And please don't ask me for a blue one. Please don't, because we're doing the Outback colours, okay? It just gives you I can't find the date. It's in here somewhere.
You need me to hold it.
Oh, no, I think we're good. Listen to that thunder. It's over Deb Cooper's house right now.
It says
I got it. It's over your house, Deb. It's coming this way. All right, so there you go. Oh, it's back the front. No, they back the front. It's just me. 2002. the year Stevie was born. How exciting is that? So this was the first one, and you will find some of the techniques that are on this one. I'm going to hold it up and show you. We're doing the same this time round. Other ones, we're changing for one of two reasons, because I have found a better way to do things, or because I wanted an Australian theme. So I'm going to come back to this one in a minute, and a couple of others.
Whoa.
If the lights go off, we'll be back later. Oh my goodness.
My cat's home alone.
Oh, cats are home alone.
No.
Now the first thing is too, what did I leave off the newsletter? Have you all worked it out? I didn't give you the dimensions of the quilt. How bad's that? We spoke about all of the blocks, and Carleen actually mentioned it, emailed me this morning and said, that's great, Lise, but what's the size? So it is 64 inches wide, so that's going to be 1.6 metres wide, and the height of it is, it's going to end up about 80 inches high, so 2 metres high. So Kate, can you please just show the girls the whole picture, because they can't see it? There you go. And that includes 8-inch borders. All right, now someone also asked me this morning, can we do it as quilt as you go? And the answer is yes, you can, but that requires a little bit more calculation on your part to leave your seam allowances bigger. So in the welcome letter that I've mentioned you'll get with the first month's mail out, I will include some information about doing it as a quilt as you go. And just to give you a rough idea what that means, if you're going to piece the quilt traditionally with just a 1/4 inch seam, they are the dimensions that I'm going to give you for each month. But if you decide to do it as quilt as you go, the sashing that I have done on my quilt, I'm going to give you different options for sashing later as well. This is 1.5 inches wide. So what you would need to do is leave your seam allowance at 3/4 inch wide instead of 1/4, and that means you'll be able to abut your blocks next to each other and cover that seam allowance. Excuse me, I'm not emotional, it's the rice crackers. Cover that seam allowance with your 1.5 inch wide sashing on the front and on the back. And to answer the question, I forgot who asked now. Hey Terry, I forgot to ask now who asked me. But the answer is yes, you can, because this one was done quilt as you go. I've just decided I don't want to do that this time. I want to get it all pieced up and put one backing on it, but that's going to be up to you. The best thing about doing it quilt as you go, of course, is if you're also new to quilting, whether by hand or by machine, it is so much easier for you to get the hang of your quilting if you're just working on each little individual block, and if you keep up with the club really well, which all of you are going to do, right? Yes, okay, so we're all going to do that, including me, of course. I've got to stay well ahead of you. If you do quilt it as you go, then when you get to the end, you literally are going to have 4 or 5 seams with your outer border to finish it off. It does mean, though, more hand sewing at the end, because you will need to slip stitch or top stitch on your sashing on the front and on the back. So a bit of thought, but I'll come back to you. It was Barbara. It was Barb that asked about doing it. She's just told me. It was you. Of course it was. I've just answered. Yes, Barb. So there you go. There's the answer to that question. Yes, you can do it quilt as you go. Now, in your mailbox, you should have a big fat newsletter from me. And if you don't, please email us at info@Chandlers Cottage, or pop onto the homepage of chandlerscottage.com, and there's a little spot there to sign up for the newsletter. But do come back to us quick so we can get this out to you. So in the newsletter, I've shown you that first quilt we did, and we did do about 100 of them at the start. So for me, it's like coming back to an old friend. I'm not nervous about doing it for once with a new quilt, because I've been here and it's just such a pleasure to come back with what I've learned again over the last 2 or 3 years since I made this one. So we're going to have lots of fun and try some different things as well to traditional methods, and that to me is a really important thing. Now when we talk about doing hand sewing and things as well, I want to be able to give you some things that are portable to do straight away, and then I want you to have some other things that you maybe want to do when you're at home. So to give you a good example, the first month, I'll just move these for a tick. The first, I hope they can hear the thunder. It's on here at the moment.
Impressive. I think there was some lightning.
Oh, what a great afternoon for sewing. It's lovely. So I'm going to tell you what we're doing first. We're going to start in a safe place and we're going to do paper piecing to start with. So I'm not going to give you paper pieces. Okay, I can see Kate's lining up for the close-up. She's lining up, lining up. If I hold that there,
yeah, I'll fix it to you.
These hexagons, there you go. These hexagons are slightly larger than the ones that I did last time in the quilt because I really wanted to give it a little bit of kapow, and I've added some some hand embroidery around it. All right. So these are the first ones that we're going to do. Now wait, Kate, I'm going to show them the back, and we are going to talk about slip stitching. So you can see on the back all of my stitches that have appliqued them on, and then when we're on the front brag shot here, you cannot see any of my stitches. So that's one of the things we're going to cover off in the first month as well. And I've mentioned in the newsletter, and I'll mention again, A Quilter's Life is coming up, which is going to be our little $10 a month club for quilters, everything to do with the life of a quilter. And in there we'll be popping in little 15-minute demos each month that go with your club mail out. You don't need it, you don't have to have it, but it would be a really nice little extra on top of yummy recipes and free patterns and everything to have if you're a real virtual person. And in fact, some of the girls that have signed up already have emailed me on the sly and said, sign me up as well for A Quilter's Life, which is really lovely. But no, I can't, because all that information will be out next week, but you're actually going to go to a little site where you sign up for that for us. So we're going to do hexagons first. I'm not going to give them to you as papers. We're going to use these cool little Epiplex. Can you just see that? I'm going to shine the light from the ring light. There you go. We're using these cool things. I'm getting these in the hexagons for you. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do that is when you come to do your border later on around the outside, there's going to be so many different options for you to design your own, but I want you to have enough papers, if you like, or hexagons to work with for the outer border if you want to. And with that in mind, you sort of get 2 or 3 uses out of your little paper hexagons, but I'm going to invest for you in giving you the Epiplex ones, because they just keep going and going and going forever and ever. So you'll be able to use them for this quilt, use them for your border, and then use them for anything else you like. So I'm going to have to talk about the rain. Oh,
Yeah, watch the levels of.
Wow.
Talk as loud as you
I'm
can.
so sorry, and we'll just wait for the hail to hit now, and the flying ducks and
The
pigs, and we'll be
lightning and
fine.
the clouds.
I know. So I'm going to pop in for you 15 of these little plastic ones, so you'll be able to use them to make your 2 hexagons and join them together with the one in the middle. Oh my goodness.
Imagine we're in the warehouse.
All the times
If
that
we were in the warehouse right now, no one
we
would
need
hear
hearing
anything.
protection in the warehouse.
What?
So, and I'm leading up to another reason why we're doing paper piecing first, but this is a really nice little project that you can take with you to do. And the other one that I popped in the newsletter we're going to do, and Kate, I'm going to hold this up. Hi Pam, hi Karen. Oh, look at all these people. Oh my goodness, Patricia's in the building as well. Patricia, your order is done and dusted downstairs as well. There was a lot we did today. There was
Just
heaps.
keep it there and I'll angle the camera.
How's that? Is that good? Can you see that, everybody? There you go. So we are doing octagons. So you're going to get both of these in your first month. And then stay there, Kate. I'll just pull this off. And this, look, free motion. It's freestyling without its background. Now, this is one of the reasons I want to do this one first as well, is because you don't need to decide straight away what you want to do with your background. So the club comes with all the fabrics and all your notions and everything that you need for the applique component, but you're going to add in your background. And I could have done that, and I could have made the club $32 a month or something, but I really wanted you to make that decision about what you want to do for your background. So in doing these 2 blocks with the paper piecing first, you can literally finish this off. You can go for a shop, and in your stash as a start, you're going to need 2.5 meters. So you can have a look in your stash. You might decide that you want to use different shades of cream or grey and black for all of your blocks, so they're all really different. You might decide you want to get in there with all of your scraps of creams and whites, or pale greens.
I like that.
You like that?
Yeah.
and make up your block backgrounds. There are so many options that you can do. So instead of setting that for you, dead straight black, I'm going to let you make that decision. And in the first month that we send out these, we're popping in a little swatch for you of the ones that we think are a good place to start to look. So I've got some of them up here. After last week, and I've been watching too much UK shopping channel.
Yeah, that's all you
And
watch.
John, and I'm obsessed with watching my mates in the UK now. And after last week, John was on the phone. He said I was too telly-selly.
He did comment
It's
that.
a term they use for shopping channels.
Isn't it too telemarketer?
I was too telly-selly. So we're not doing that now. I'll calm down. But I am. I'm really.
But you were selling things.
I was selling things, but this just gets me totally excited. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Okay, so what we're sending out, first of all, will be a piece of the black to have a look at. So a lot of you know this. This is our Black Magic, and we do this particular fabric. It's beautiful. This is $15 a metre. And it's the one that I use for all my sashing, for my backgrounds, and you know, lots and lots here that we use this for. And this is what I'm popping my applique sampler onto now. But always I'm going to be looking at what else is going to be a good background to use. I'm really onto this scrap idea now, but I can't do a scrap one. Oh, did you see these little flutterbys? Can I just show these?
Flutterbys.
See those? Okay, so when we do applique on, slip stitch on our paper pieces, there you go, hold those up like that. These are going in here, Kate.
Wow.
So we are going to, girls are going to get a big piece, 1 month of my Australian butterflies.
That's clever.
And they're going to use that for fussy cutting and embroidery purse. So I'll pop these here. Okay, here's number 2 option, and again, these are coming out with your first months to have a look at. And to me, it's really important that I don't offer you a fabric that I don't know well and that I'm not happy with the quality of. You know, it's really important that we make sure this quality is good. I can see Lisa King's in the building. Did you see that? Lisa King is watching.
Karen DeWilt's asking about how to get to the newsletter.
Oh, Karen DeWilt newsletter. Now,
Easy.
Rob should have put the newsletter up as the latest one, but it only went out last night, so he may not have done that, Karen. So Kate's going to write that down now and make sure that happens tonight. And so I'll make sure Rob make sure the latest newsletter that's up on the home page of the website is that one. And I'm pretty sure, Karen, we've got your email, but you, look, anyone that's wondering, send through your email now if you don't have it to info@chandlerscottage.com. and we will just forward it to you when we finish the show. Kate, that's too smart. Show the girls what you're doing. Oh, that's just too smart. So see that little newsletter box? If you click in there, sign up for the newsletter, so you always are up to date with what we're doing. That was very telly-silly.
On our website?
And on our website. But also just send us an email through now to info@Chandlers Cottage. And we will make sure you get that this afternoon. Kate, can I show the girls this gorgeous shadow play? So this one here, this is, we're doing this for the club members for $22 a metre, FYI, not 26. It is a marbly finish. So this is a shadow play. I'm sure Lisa would agree with me. This is a really nice fabric to use as a background, and we use this a lot as well in other colours. So it's got a blue look. I know it sounds weird, but it's a blue-black marble. And I know you're going, what do I want blue for? But it will throw the colours, and if I just pop these over the top, just as a dokie.
Maybe always works with
it will throw the colours, and it won't be as stark a contrast, if you like, compared to what else we are using, because there will be all the colours of the rainbow in Outback and Australian flower colours, as you've seen in the big quilt, but we won't be throwing any black over the top, so this background would actually work really well. Now the next one, and again, you're all getting samples of these, so don't worry, you're going to get a piece in the mail, and you'll be able to audition it once you have started doing your applique with your paper pieces. This is shadow play as well, but look, you really can't see it here, girls, but it is the most subtle shaded cream. I've given Kate a challenge. She's just going to try and get in. It's a beautiful soft cream. And if you can see, if I throw that over the top, you'll see a contrast here between the cream on Under the Australian Sun and this background. Now, a lot of the time we try and blend them together, but here I really do want that contrast. So if we come through and you decide to do the cream background, you're still going to be able to pop this over the top and get a really nice contrast. Leave that camera there, Miss Kate. Right. Yvonne says that there is no thunder in the western suburbs, and it is already clearing up. So as the saying goes, if you don't like the weather in Melbourne, you wait 5 minutes.
It's
The
gone
sun
now.
is now out.
It's blue clouds, blue sky.
If you do love a bit of bling and you want a more complex background, we're popping this in too. This is Northcote Shimmer, and this is in the cream background one. I'm using this, Kate, for the remake of Geisha.
Ooh.
The Geisha quilt this year, which I'll show the girls in a minute.
I do like the geisha.
You like the Geisha? She's going on cream this year. And all the skills that we're learning in the Applique sampler are in that quilt you need for that quilt. And this one, oh look, I love this. Look at that. This is the most beautiful, warm cream with the speckle of gold through. And see, I love this because here you're going to get that cream is still going to contrast well against that background. Love it. So anyway, they are the samples that I'm going to pop in. I tried a few others. I tried the small metallic floral from Melba. I tried a few others. Too busy. They're not going to work. You need to keep it you need to keep it as something that's going to enhance your applique, not compete with it. So that's it. So when you get your first pack, you're going to get a nice welcome letter. You're going to get everything that you need to do the applique for those 2 paper piece blocks, including all of your plastic bits, little photos and everything. And then if you join up a Quilter's Life as well, when we get that out next week, you'll have a little video to watch with some different things. Where does your paper piecing go from there? And you may well ask. There is another block that will come into this quilt that is not in this one on the wall, and you are going to be doing some pre-piecing and applique onto a larger piece first, and then you're going to paper piece with it.
Whoa.
It's out there. It's really out there. If you saw, what did I do? Lilies on the Pond or something. We did a little quilt that's got fragmented lily pond leaves. I'm sure I've shown it to you in a Craft and Cook or something. Have a look on Craft and Cook. I'm sure it's there. It's that sort of concept. So we're going to do some pre-piecing first and then overlay it onto paper pieces to get a really stunning effect, I hope. The other thing that we may do is, I'm going to weave. So we're going to do some paper piecing and then weave other fabrics through the gaps in between them. So lots and lots of things to do with that. Now the other one I just wanted to show you as well is we're going to use Melba as well as Under the Australian Sun. And that really does commit us to concentrating on the applique components, not so much the style of the fabric we're using. So it's all around the applique techniques and the colours. And so if the colours work together, then we are fine. So it's that whole dilution effect, like when you do a scrappy quilt, that the more that you throw in, the more that you can get away with. A bit like your rave parties, Kate. The more, it's a little bit like a dinner party. The more different people you throw in, the longer the table is, the more different diverse personalities you can put in a room together.
You've heard of the stories of my new friends.
So in the newsletter you would have seen in the progress, and it's still in progress, I left it to show you today, our little Dresden block that is going to be in this quilt. And that goes there, and then these go around here. And then we're going to do a lovely little pre-shaped, oh no, I've got it wrong, that goes there. I've got one extra. Oh, I was wondering why it didn't work before. I've got an extra wedge. So that is going to be our little pointed Dresden, that when we go back to the quilt, where is it?
What?
It's up here somewhere.
What?
Can you see that? Other girls can't. It's right up there. There you go. So that's it there. So I have made it a little bit more wow factor this time. Oh, it's so out of focus, Kate. There you go.
Sorry.
So that's the same block. I'm just messing with her. That's the same block. And I want to show you where I took the fabrics from.
Not Leanne's box.
That's Leanne's box. Okay. So I'll show you. This is the fabric that I have fussy cut my little pointed Dresdens from. So you're going to get a nice big piece of this in your pack as well. And then you're going to end up, look at them. So there's all the little different elements from the Melba print, and surprisingly in between I have popped in some mint coloured flowering gum from, thank you, from Under the Australian Sun. So I hope Leanne's not watching. Now, I must tell the girls about the box. So can I just show the girls a close up on this again, because I really want them to see. So you can see here these big orange pieces are from the big Waratah, and then you've also got some of these little grevillees that have come from the fan. So what's going to happen with pieces like this, one month you'll get a big chunk of a big print like this, or the butterflies, and you must leave it in the box. You may not go off and use it to make a handbag or something. It has to stay in the box, because it's going to stay in my fabric box for the quilt, and I'll come back and use it for another block. Hence, we were talking about the box. So I want you, before we get started, to set yourself up for the year, a little bit like going back to school or uni, as the case may be, so that you're set, ready to go. And you need a folder with your clear plastic sleeves in it that's just for your applique block patterns as they come through. Maybe a little Ziplocs to pop in there with your paper pieces as well. I'll put all this in the welcome note when we get started. But and find yourself a really nice box to keep your fabrics in. It doesn't have to be a boring box, and I'm guilty of going and
over stuff,
buying fishing tackle boxes, really boring ones, because when Mum and Dad lived up country, I'd throw everything in the back of the car with my gumboots, pushers for the kids, toys, the whole lot, and my sewing all lived in Stanley toolboxes.
That's like the cookie tins as the sewing.
Yes.
And
yes.
everyone, whenever there's cookies in it, people go, "Why is there cookies in the sewing box?"
That's it. So look at this. Look, I had to show you this. We should have shown this last week when we did show and tell.
We should have shown it every week.
Well, this
forever.
week when we did show and tell with the girls this week was, yeah. And so Leanne upcycled an old sewing box from the op shop. How beautiful is that? She's covered it all in Under the Australian Sun, inside and everything. Anyway, that's what I'm keeping my fabric in, so it's all in one place. I want you to keep all of your background fabric together too. If you're not going scrappy, please don't use your black. For example, if you buy it from us for something else and come back and buy more, I want it to all be from the same dye lot and from the same batch. Now, we're pretty sure that there's no variation between batches, but I don't want your quilt to be the one that suffers from a dye lot change, particularly with blacks. So you want one of those to keep all the fabric in. Then you've got various things that you could use. Little drawstring bags for the paper piecing is really good. I love these tins because my fabric agent, which I have, I can say that, I like slipping that in, sends me the most divine boxes of chocolate biscuits every Christmas, and they always get delivered by FedEx on a day that's above 35 degrees, so when I open them up they're kind of melted into a stack. But so big tins like this are fantastic as well, and they'll knock around in the car okay.
That's exactly what I thought of when you said sewing box.
Sewing box,
yeah.
I love my red ones. And this one, so this is also what I'm keeping probably my sewing in, that will just be here in the office or go home with me at night time to work on the applique sampler. And this is a precious one. This, Kate, was my lunchbox for kindergarten. Look at that.
That's a cool lunchbox.
Someone said they had one the same. I don't know if it was Lisa or Leanne. It might have been Leanne. So I'm using that for mine. So you'll see that pop up on A Quilter's Life and when we're doing the applique sampler.
That's an awesome lunchbox.
Do you like that?
I would use that.
It's got
now.
leather hinges. That's how old I am. Right, we'll pop this down here. Okay, so get yourselves ready to go. And you know what? Be ready for the unexpected, because I know what will happen. You'll all keep a picture of this. And then it's a little bit like watching a TV series where you've already read the books, and it gets all so confusing and stressful because you go, that's not what happened in the books, and you go, that's not what's on the sample. it will change and take on an Australian element or some slightly different techniques as we go along. Point in case, we are also going to take out tulips and pop in waratahs. I'm getting tired of changing cameras yet, Kate.
Never.
Right, okay, I'll have this one then, please.
Where do you want it?
I just want to show the girls where I'm up to, which is obviously what I'm going to be doing tonight. So tulips come out and waratahs go in. And doves come out and cockatoos go in. There you go, that one will do. So I'm in the process at the moment of needle turning on my leaves. And I don't want to hear any expletives coming through my phone right now, because I know you're all going, oh, what? No, I can't do that. Yes, yes, you can. And this is the whole point of building up your techniques. So by the time you get to the waratah block and we're down to doing fine points and everything, you will have built up your needle turning skill. So I'll just, before we go back, look, this is going to be my waratah head. It goes over the top. This is it. This photo is in the newsletter. And these are my ruched pieces ready to sew on. So I get my ruched waratah head, and then we're going to have 3D petals that come up and over the head. This block's going to be fantastic. Well, for me, I think, because I'm just going to learn so many skills and then put them all into the one block. All right, now Kate's also got a photo of that ruched block on the quilt on the wall. So just to also show you what you do with that, it's the one. Okay. Just to show you as well, we'll start off and do some ruching, just some simple ruching to start. Yeah, pop that up for the girls in the quilt. And this is sort of more what you're traditionally used to seeing from me. So you take your ruching and we'll spiral it. And we're also going to use it to interpret some bottle brush or callistamine in the quilt. So I'm of the opinion we'll use these ruched ones probably to represent some paper daisies, heliochrysums. There's a few other little Australian flowers that are really, really cute. So we're going to use those and point in. We might actually use them for feathers as well. Kate, you've got your hand up. She's not at school.
Is the applique all hand sewing?
The applique is all... Oh, that is such a question. Is the applique all hand sewing?
Patricia asks.
Patricia? Well, your ruching's definitely going to be. Look, and this happens a lot with my Japanese quilts. People say, can I do it by machine? You can do so much of it by machine if you want to. If you want to do all of your leaves, and actually I've got one of them here. If you want to do all of your leaves, and instead of doing paper piecing, just do raw edge and blanket stitch it down, or satin stitch it down. Yes, yes, you can. If that's what you want to do. If you love the design, you like the idea and you like the colours, but you don't want to do all the handwork, you can. And this is probably a good example. So these, just to show you, these are a couple of blocks off the Japanese Baltimore. So these ones here, I have, there we go. I have done these all needle turned by hand, and the skills you learn in the applique sampler will have you ready to do that, okay? But if you then decided that you wanted to whip it all up on your sewing machine, then that would be up to you, and you could. And I'm going to come back to that in just a second because I want to talk about blanket stitch. So as part of the process, as well as the needle turn, Trish, and the other techniques that we're going to do, when you reach that final stage of applying it onto your block, you can do it with blanket stitch, but keep in mind, we'll come back and talk about different sizes of blanket stitch and whether we use them with a monopoly, for example. You might want to do that so it's clear and you can't actually see it, or whether you want to make it a feature. Okay, you've got a picture of half that leaf with the blanket stitch on it. That one. Go back. Go back. The green one you just had.
I know.
So Kate's going to show you a close-up of the ivy leaf that's on the quilt. So see that. In this particular version of the quilt, the first thing that we did with with blanket stitch was a big leaf, and that leaf came off the front of Rob's botany book from University Cape. I traced it off. So we did that one first, and then the second photo you've got is from the row of pansies. So we did that, and then once we had that skill down and we understood about using paper-backed adhesive and having a reverse pattern and everything, we moved on and did the, you got it?
Yep.
We moved on and did a row of pansies, which were more intricate, and we had to layer everything up to actually show them. So Kate's just going to show you this one. So then we moved on to that, and that also is all done with blanket stitch. So it's all about building up your skills in different techniques. So again, if you wanted to do this by machine, you could, but you just won't get, I suppose, as many of the skills that you're going to get for handwork if you do that. That's up to you. Well, I showed you before the butterflies that are going to go onto the octagon block. So at some stage you're going to get a nice big chunk of Australian butterfly print as well. So you'll get a full repeat of the Australian butterflies. And the way that it will work is that there'll be one month that comes through when we do a new block, and the only fabric you will get maybe is this one, and with your pattern and a couple of bits, but it will be because you've already got all the other fabrics in your stash from previous months, and you'll be able to put them together with the butterflies. So we're actually going to, these I cut off the ivory background, but depending on whether you choose a light or a dark background, I will choose whether to send you the butterflies on the ivory background or the black, just to make your life a little bit easier if you're needle turning them or adhering them on with a blanket stitch or something. So you'll get this, and then we're going to take the butterflies off and put them on. By the time you get to the butterflies, you'll know what you want to do, and you will have decided, oh, I'm a needle turn girl, I love it. It lowers my heart rate, it lowers my blood pressure, which it does for me. It's slow sewing and I love it. Or you'll be like, I am not touching that technique we did in month 4, I am over it, I'm not doing it again. I'm blanket stitching them on.
It's a learning
experience, but it's also, there's a power in having different skills. So you'll get a feel for it as you go of how you want to do it. And there are different techniques as well. We're going to do reverse applique. Dum dum dum. Reverse applique is cool, really, really cool to do. And again, I'm going to needle turn mine, but there will be no reason why you can't do it as a raw edge with a blanket stitch or a satin stitch. If you wish on the edge with your blanket stitch by machine or hand, we'll go through all of that. Pardon me. So, in terms of fabrics as well, I thought I'll just touch on this. You can put these over here. I'm going to cram as many of my fabrics into your packs as possible. Even if it's only little bits, you're going to get lots and lots to play with. And they'll all come in those Outback colours, which, as you know, we've got loads of. And we'll have the new one, Kate.
Ah, yeah, we
the
will.
cream on cream gum leaves. We are so using that for the reverse applique.
I had nothing to do with the cream on cream gum leaves.
No, you didn't.
I didn't even know.
Yes, you did. We coloured it. We did all of the colours for them. Anyway, this print here is coming out just tonal cream on cream. And I wanted to do this so it's a really, really nice fabric to use for backing, but also as a background for really strong blocked applique. You wouldn't use it for this sort of stuff, but it'll work really well as a background. So the colours that we're going to work with. Now I will be popping in, for example, a little bit of one of my gum leaf prints, 1 or 2 of them, and they will sit underneath your reverse applique. But it also may be that we'll fussy cut them out. And on that gorgeous box that Leanne did for me, which I've thrown on the floor, well, not thrown, it's sitting on the floor. There was even some 3D gum leaves that she had cut out from this fabric and used to embellish the beautiful sewing box. So that will be one of the things that we will do as well. Yes, Miss Kate.
Oh, why? Sorry.
Okay, so am I back there?
No.
Oh! Got you here.
1 second.
One of the important things to do is give you a really, really good balance.
You're good.
Oh, thank you. A really, really good balance of greens. So right throughout all of the Australian outback, you and I both know they go from a real blue green to a brown green, yellow green. So we're going to make sure that we cover a lot of those and also where they match up with the other ones that we have in the feature prints. So we'll have some of the Melba Nouveau fans. Now, they may not come through to actually use as the fans. They may come through that you're going to cut it up and use it and fussy cut it down into smaller leaves to give some movement. So when you get a fabric, you won't necessarily be using it for the print on the fabric. It'll be there for the finer detail. Kate, you've got your hand up.
I've got 2 questions.
Yes.
How long will this quilt take to make by hand?
A year.
And
It'll take a year to make the quilt because it's a 12-month subscription.
Is this okay for complete beginners of hand sewing?
Yes! I want the complete beginner so I can teach you all my bad habits. That's very important. No, complete beginners are absolutely fine. And you know, it's not like you're buying, I'm being a bit rude here, but it's not like you're buying a Block of the Month program from overseas or somewhere. You're buying it from me. I'm here, I'm on email. You can email me, you can ring me, you know, if you get really stuck. So there's a support desk if you like, and it's me who made the quilt. So that's really important as well. So yes, please, complete beginners. We will have classes starting here in the next couple of weeks, and again, we're just rolling everything out. If you wanted to join in for one of our WIP days, our work in progress days, and bring along your first block in March or something, for example, I mean, you're going to pay for a workshop, but of course you can do that as well. So yes, complete beginners, most welcome, and that would be fantastic. There are a lot of people that have signed up today, and I know who you are, and you know I know who you are. And suspiciously, some of them have done it before, but they want to go again.
Well,
come on the journey.
Must be fun then.
It's fun. We'll be using some batiks, so we've got beautiful Hoffman batiks in the building. So this gorgeous marble effect is going to give you a lot of movement and joy. And then you've got, well, there's another one there. Okay, can I just show it? Let's just pile up the greens. Look at these. So we've got olive flowering gum, leaf flowering gum, and the batik. So there's lots of different ones there. Now, an olive is going in as, oh yeah, I've got that one out. Olive's in, or mint's in, that's the one I'm missing. So we've got the mint. So there's lots of that going in. Of course, every month, folks, you're going to get a little special as well that's just for club members. And it may be, I might be a little bit of devil and say, if you really like this green that's in this month's club, you may have it at this price. Or we'll give you a little project as a special that uses one of the techniques you did in the previous month. So the best example probably is those octagons is the next chapter of our paper doily club. So you can see there'll be a little bit of crossover and there'll be specials for you each month. Now, the one thing I am going to do, I've been stashing this bolt, and this bolt has been in my cupboard.
It's a nice bolt.
3 years? 4 years. So this was from under the Australian Sun pattern release, probably about the 4th or the 5th, I've lost count, when we did the swags and we had these in different colours.
Did you design that?
Oh, yes, Kate. So that was the wattle print. A lot of people have asked for this back, and no, we're not going back there, maybe slightly different down the track, but this print, I only have, about 6 metres left, and this will be going into club packs. Yes, Kate.
Can you provide help virtually?
Virtually help?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a Zoom call or something.
Oh, look, if you get really stuck, Zoom calls, yes, but there'll be, but then you've got to get me all the time. I would actually say you're going to want a Quilter's Life. And if you haven't watched Craft and Cook Show yet, hop on there and have a look too, because that will give you an idea of what you're going to get in a Quilter's Life, which is...
So Quilter's Life will be the main virtual help.
Yeah, Quilter's Life is virtual for this, and it's just one of the things that goes on a Quilter's Life. I filmed my first personal blog for Quilter's Life last week, and it's very raw and it's very personal, and that is the whole point of a Quilter's Life too, because away from the away from the kind of Kate and the girls and everyone being here, a quilter's life is about getting together with you and being the best that you can be for the age you are and the stage in life you are this year after last year. So there's the Healthy Quilters Club, which many were in the Healthy Fabric Club way back, but we're going back and doing that again. We're going out and talking to people about posture and exercise, and I'm not talking about doing squats with 20 kilos weights. I mean, this is a squat. This is really important. I need to bend down and pick up my sewing basket off the floor. So Quilter's Life is very different, and there'll be specials and freebies for Quilter's Life members. But there will be a 15-minute tutorial on each month's block release with that as well. So also in the club, let's look at the reds. So we've got reds, oranges. So reds and oranges are all going in. And you ready? You're good. So you've got all of these guys going in as well. So we're cramming in as many as we can. And again, as I said, they won't necessarily show up as fans or flowers. They may be ruched, they may be chopped up, they will turn into butterfly wings, all different sorts of things. And then you've got some golds going in. Now I'm still deciding on the golds, girls. I've got this one here, obviously we'll run this one, but I'm going to put in some Robert Kaufman fusions as well. And with gold's a really funny thing. If you're using the metallics, gold doesn't just have to be about colour. Sometimes it's about the density of the metallic gold that comes with the fabric, and that's what gives you the contrast. So I could pop this in with a plainer cream that doesn't have any gold on it, and they will contrast well even though they're fundamentally the same colour underneath. Then we're also going to have some of the Under the Australian Sun prints in, and you saw one of those earlier that came through in that octagon paper piecing that we're doing. So the other thing was when we get to notions, excuse me, I'm going to be putting in lengths of embroidery thread for you as well for embellishing your blocks, and the stitches for the embroidery will also go into the instructions for you, and we'll cover them off in the little videos. The one thing I've got to get round, I've got to talk to Kate about, is I'm left-handed. So we might actually have two little clips for the embroidery, one with me doing it and one with Emma doing it, so you get right-handed and left-handed. So I'm sure the lefties will appreciate that. But you'll also, you know, if you need a little bit of, I'm just trying to grab it. If you need a little bit of Vilene in your pack, and I can sneak it in there at the same postage, I will. So if you need a little bit of iron-on Vilene and your threads are going to go in, if you need, you know, a couple of little clips to hold things together, and I'm not sure you've got any, we'll throw those in as well. I will be putting in the first month's edition a needle for you to get started if I think you need it. So when you are paper piecing, you're actually best with a piecing needle that's nice and strong, and when we get to applique, then you're going to want one that's got a bit more flexibility. And again, for whoever was asking about applique before, please go back and have a look at Craft and Cook shows, because we did applique and piecing. The paper piecing one's got some good stuff about needles on it.
Patricia Brown.
Yeah, so we'll pop one of those in for you. Whatever I can get in there, I will. And if I find a product along the way that I think is a really good addition to your stash, if you like, or your box of tricks, I'll pop a couple in for you and then tell you where you can get them or if we've got them. So for example, it would be really nice, I'll show the girls these, my little applique pins. So instead of having big piecing pins, if I can find, you know, if I think, look, girls really need these this month, I'll pop a couple in for you to have a look at, and then you can decide if you'd like them. And I've also just invested in some of Nancy's double-sided basting tape. It looks like it's going to make life really easy with some of the stuff that we're doing this year. So again, I'll give it a go, and then if I think it's good, I'll let you know, and then let you know where you can get it or if we've got it for you. And in terms of thread, now that's the big question with thread. I'll put it in the note, but you can go silks. If you want to use what you've got, then please do. The only thing I am not, and again it will be your personal preference, I am not a poly girl. I don't use bottom liner or polyester. I love using silk or just a really, really nice fine mercerized applique thread. So a lot of you know I love Masterpiece. It comes on great big rolls that cost a fortune to post, and it's not cheap, but that's my investment. But we've also got now some of the beautiful Wonderful Afina threads. Now those of you that joined in with me for the applique sampler back in December, I know that you've got a special on some of these threads coming your way. But also, you know, these are really nice, and they're nice and thin. Can I just show it's a bit shiny. They're lovely and thin. So that means that we should be able to get away with popping one in your kit if you want. So it's always going to be that bit where you can ring up and go, girls, before you post out next month, I need an orange or I need a red, or can you throw me in a pack of pins? We'll do the best we can to pop it in at the same postage price that you are at. And if you decide you want to add in other stuff for the applique sampler and it's really heavy, then we just have to put the postage up a bit. But these will all be prepared well ahead of time. So if we can pop something in those envelopes, then we will for you. We won't be combining with stuff from our live shows or Facebook, or live shows Facebook, Instagram, or the website though, because that's a completely different team and different stuff going on. So I'm sure you can understand that. It works out to about $3.50 for your postage for the club each month, because we're keeping it nice and neat and tight without the background in it. So I think that's just about it. I mentioned you're going to get specials, which is super important. In the back of your newsletter, you've got everything that I can tell you now about A Quilter's Life. We have finished off the first blogs. We've got the first recipes ready. We've got the stuff for the VIP club, as I mentioned. There are other clubs coming up. So there's the Dancing Butterfly Club.
Is that one Emma's been working on?
Yes.
That's a lovely one.
So the Dancing Butterfly Club is just another one we're doing. That's more about a fabric club, and you get a really nice butterfly block to go with it. Some of those fabrics coming through you could add into your applique sample if you wanted, but that's a separate club. But the extra stuff that you can do with those fabrics will also go into A Quilter's Life. I'm going to be sharing with you what I'm doing with new fabrics for this year in there. So, for example, we're expecting a FedEx van by next Friday. That's bringing through the first strike offs from the tonal gum leaves, and also a new teal aqua flowering gum.
So exciting.
Teal aqua flowering gum does not go in this quilt. Completely different colour story. However,
it's lovely.
You'll get to see that first, and you'll get specials on that first before everybody else. If you're in A Quilter's Life Craft and Cook Show, everyone always asks for the recipes that we put up. Well, you'll get proper PDF printout recipes you can pop in a folder, and as I said, there'll be club privileges on stuff that you'll get to see first and other people don't get.
It's worth it.
It'll be good. I think it'll be really good. So, and I just want to get that going. And those waratahs in the back, white waratah, that photo is not off the internet in the back of the newsletter. Mum wants royalties for that because it's out of her garden. I hope she hasn't seen all the other ones in the newsletter. So I think I've pretty much covered everything that I can give you now, and it's really hard because I want to give you so much, but at the same time I want every month it to be sort of like a really nice special surprise that comes in the mail for you. So I've got some really cool blocks designed up. The ginger jar, obviously from the old one, is going, and that's becoming a biscuit barrel because it should be, because it's Australian. And I'm working on those cockatoos as well at the moment, because we've got to get rid of the doves. We can't have doves on an Australian one. Gum leaves, of course, will feature heavily. So the ivy will be out, gum leaves will be in, and the Celtic knot is just a little bit too Celtic to go in the applique sampler with an Australian theme. So the bias work that we will be doing in this quilt will take on the shape of Australian shapes and leaves and inserts as well. You will need, I'll mention it now, you will want a 1/4 inch bias maker along the way, so make sure you've found one of those in your stash or pick one of those up, but we'll also let you know along the way when we've got them. Oh, sorry, yes, Techniques that are not in the quilt that will be, when we were just talking about bias work, can I just show you this? We will be doing, and we touched on it again when we did stems in the YouTube show, our last one for last year, with Leanne, about doing gnarly little branches like that. So if you see these little ones, these are about, when they're finished, they're under 1/4 of an inch. They're little branches like this, so we will be doing branches and things. So there'll be a lot more techniques added in that we haven't done before. Now this is the bottom half of my geisha quilt, and I thought I had the black one here. Let me hold this one up for you, just to show you what she looked like. This is also on the go. So you can see this girl here. Okay, then Kate's going to go back to the close-up. One of the quick techniques that I have picked up and I use a lot more of now, and it's one I will show you, and this is probably back to the question about how much you do by hand and how much by machine. Now if I was to do this shape around here, these larger shapes, I can still needle turn this, but the other way that I can do this is sew this piece right sides together with a thin waist fabric underneath, a little bit like a violin or organza, and then we bag it out, and then all you have to do is actually slip stitch it down instead of having to needle turn right round the pieces. So I'm going to add that into the quilt as well, because for those that do struggle a little bit with their needle turn, that might be a nicer alternative for you. So there's lots and lots going on. Yes, Kate?
What about a black cockatoo and a echidna or a wombat?
So people are asking if I'm going to add in more animals. Now I said I'd add the cockatoos in because I kind of liked the doves in this one.
Yeah, that could be a wombat.
That is not a wombat. Let me have a think about it. You know, where my brain went then when people said, can we put animals in? You know where I'd put the animals?
Yeah.
Corner blocks.
Yeah.
Corner blocks on the borders.
That's not what I was going to say.
Isn't it? Corner blocks on the borders is where I think you could have wombats or echidnas facing inwards. They go really well there. Love a good wombat.
Oh.
You've got a farm girl. You can't talk to me about wombats. They plough their way through fences and make a mess of the dairy shed.
My grandpa gets
Oh.
so frustrated at them.
So to answer that question, yes, we can add in things like that. Make a note of that, Kate. I now need a wombat and an echidna, but they would be things that I would add.
A fairy wren.
A what? A fairy penguin? Oh, who's doing that?
Fairy wren.
Oh,
Wren.
Blue wrens can't go obviously because I'm not adding blue in. Look,
Fairy wren.
leave it with me. Maybe by the time we get out near the edge, I will pluck up the nerve to do a bird.
Do my face.
I think that'll be fine. So, any more questions, please email them through to info@chandlerscottage.com. Of course, you can ring us as well. Our phone number is 039 587 3958, and it is at the bottom of what am I trying to say? It's at the bottom of the website as well. Now when you go onto the website now to join up for the applique sampler, if you haven't done so yet and you'd like to do it online, on the home page there is a little icon on the side that says clubs.
I put a link to it already.
Alright, so there's it's in there, and so when you click on clubs it will go through, take you to the applique sampler. It's the only club in there at the moment, and we'll be adding the other ones that we mentioned in very soon. Alright, so thank you very much for joining me this afternoon. Have a fabulous weekend sewing. You know what I'm going to be working on. If you did need to pop in for anything tomorrow, please ring through and make a time, because I do have an appointment here at midday tomorrow, so you're most welcome to give me a call and make a time if you want to pop down. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you at 10 o'clock next Tuesday morning. Now, I may mention in passing the applique sampler again next Tuesday, just briefly, because we are looking at some different floral quilts as well as patterns and some ideas on how to use them next Tuesday when we have our usual show. All right, thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.